CEO of Viacom, the longtime executive resigning effective immediately. And he'll be replaced by Viacom Chief Operating Officer Tom Dooley as interim CEO until September 30th. Viacom down 4%, a little bit more actually today on the news.
Yeah, joining us now maybe to talk about why Viacom shareholder Sal Muoio, founder of S. Muoio and Company. He also worked for 12 years under Mario Gabelli. Also joining us is Brian Weezer from Pivotal Research Group. He downgraded Viacom shares to hold from buy earlier this month. So, Brian, maybe I'll start with you. And what did you see in terms of Viacom's performance and maybe the potential outcome and turnaround efforts from this settlement and new CEO that led to that downgrade?
Sure. Well, the downgrade was related to commentary that came after the most recent earnings call, where the deterioration certainly of Paramount, which is far worse than I think we'd expected, is certainly a problem, and we're seeing that again with this weekend's box office results. But on top of that, just the outlook for the core business is frankly worse than expected at an operating level basis. What's really difficult to tell, though, is how much of this is truly just because of all the distractions internally, the managerial issues that this brings up, and the way in which it's limited their ability to negotiate with partners to run their business, versus sandbagging to create the conditions under which growth will emerge a year from now, or just structurally problematic issues. The current management news is not really surprising, and frankly, it's not a major change. Dooley, while very confident and very capable, doesn't represent a meaningful difference from having Doman in charge, in my view.
Sal, is all that kind of cautionary stuff priced into the stock right now? You obviously own it. A lot of folks will tell you among the big media stocks, it looks the cheapest. Maybe it deserves to be cheaper, but how are you thinking about the valuation and the prospects for the company right now?
We think Viacom is a bargain. We believe in the franchise value of the businesses. Although there's been weakness, they've been buffeted by changes in distribution and new entrants and over-the-top providers. We see that they've been adapting, and in a way, they're like the early their demographics are the early adapters of a lot of the new ways of viewing programming. And so Viacom has had to adapt first, and from my perspective, they are adapting. In terms of the management changes, we had nothing really against Philippe, but I think he might have been a little distant as far as management style. Tom Dooley is a much more hands-on guy. Actually, I think we love Tom. I'd love to see him get the permanent position and see what he can do with it, honestly.
Okay.
There's about 400 million shares outstanding. Stock is, the B stock anyway, is around 41.70, I think. So you're paying about 17 billion of market value. There's about 12.5 billion of debt. Minus the unconsolidated, you're paying about $28 billion for the business. So we think there's a lot of upside.
I was going to ask you, Brian, briefly, what about Paramount? And again, this Ben-Hur flop from the weekend. What would you do there?
It's really perplexing, and this speaks to the bigger issue that Viacom and frankly CBS has. Nobody cares about governance until it becomes a problem, right? And it is a problem, obviously, with both companies, but the performance of the business is making people focus on this. With Paramount, there's something going wrong in the studio. Is it because the company has decided not to allocate capital there? Is it because they're trying to be really cost efficient and it just happens that this is the outcome? They don't have many titles coming out? I don't know that it's management necessarily. That's the really difficult thing to opine on. And further, when you add to this that I think one of the few people that Senator Redstone was reportedly visiting when he wasn't speaking with Doman was Brad Gray, who runs the studio, it makes you wonder, will National Amusements have something to say about whether or not you make any changes, even if you thought that was the right choice? So it's really an unfortunate situation for the near term.
Yeah, well, of course, a lot of people talking, Brian, about the possibility for deals down the road. They're not making many more studios, and we'll have to wait and see whether that, in fact, comes to pass with the sale of the Paramount stake or some kind of merger. But thanks, guys. Sal Muoio, founder of S. Muoio and Company, and Brian Weezer from Pivotal Research Group.
Hey, there's a studio in everybody's hand,
That's the bear case, exactly. Made on the iPhone. Right? Yeah, that's the problem.